Chase the lion? It's more than a catchphrase. It's a radically different approach to life, and this is your wake-up call. Stop living as if the purpose of life is to arrive safely at death. You show me the size of your dream, and I'll show you the size of your God. Chase the lion and change the world.
Quit living as if the purpose of life is to arrive safely at death. Run to the roar. Go after a dream that's destined to fail without divine intervention. Stop pointing out problems. Become part of the solution. Stop repeating the past and start creating the future. Face your fears. Fight for your dreams. Grab opportunity by the mane and don't let go. Live like today is the first day and last day of your life. Blaze new trails. Live for the applause of nail-scarred hands. Dare to fail. Dare to be different. Quit holding out. Quit holding back. Quit running away. Chase the lion.
On July 2nd, 1863, Lieutenant Colonel Joshua Chamberlain and his volunteer regiment of Union soldiers was stationed at Little Round Top in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. They came under heavy attack from Confederate troops. They were running dangerously low on ammunition, and there were no reinforcements in sight. It looked like the 20th Maine Regiment would not be able to survive another attack. It seemed like there was no way out. It was surrender or die, but Chamberlain was never one to run from a fight.
Their line is nearly full, sir. Artillery is back, and everyone is lining in front. It can only mean one thing. Men! Reload everything you have left! I'm out of powder.
We're out here, too.
Sir! We have to do something. They're gonna charge the hill again any moment.
Sir! Orders!
We're outnumbered, Colonel. We have to retreat, now. We can't lose this hill. Fix your bayonets!
Sir, what? They have an entire line!
Men, fix your bayonets! This is suicide!
We're too weak, sir! We can't withstand a fourth charge!
Listen to me! Right now, we are the last line of defense! We must hold this hill! Thousands of men have died these last 2 days! All of them are brothers! If today is your last, may it be so that your children may live freely in unity with our brothers from the South, as one nation under God. You have all fought like men. When the enemy has done everything to destroy you, you stood firm. Day after day, you have stared the enemy in the face, but never like you are right now. We cannot surrender this hill. So let us charge like lions and claim this victory, rather than wait here for what will certainly be our death. I have bled with you in these trenches and on the field, and I am asking that you would follow me once more in what may be the most courageous moment of your life. And should God choose to take us this day, let it be alongside every man that stands at the bottom of this hill. Fix your bayonets! Bayonets at the ready! Charge!
Joshua Chamberlain knew that if he had surrendered, he would have been losing much more than a battle. He wasn't willing to give up, no matter how many hits he took. Faith is coming out of your corner one more time to fight for what you believe in. Now let me say this, you're gonna lose a round or two. All of us do. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. But failure is not getting knocked down, it's staying down. Faith is getting back up, getting back in the ring. John L. Sullivan is one of the greatest boxers in history. He was the last heavyweight champion of bare knuckle boxing and the first heavyweight champion of glove boxing. He held that title for a decade. In fact, he was undefeated until September 7, 1892. That's when he met a boxer named Gentleman Jim Corbett. Corbett did what no one had done before. He went 21 rounds with John L. Sullivan, and he didn't just win that fight, he knocked Sullivan out. Corbett ended Sullivan's career and won the title as heavyweight champion of the world. For what it's worth, he gave the prize money to his church. That bout against Sullivan is his most famous fight, but it's the fight before that fight that reveals the kind of man Corbett was. On May 21, 1891, he fought his crosstown rival, Peter Black Prince Jackson. They were boxing instructors at competing athletic clubs in San Francisco. Jackson was the Australian heavyweight champion, but Sullivan wouldn't fight him because he was black. So Corbett and Jackson squared off for a boxing match that would last 61 rounds, and it ended in a no contest. I share that to share this. Corbett had a life motto, and he didn't just talk the talk, he walked the walk. His motto was this: fight one more round. He said, when your arms are so tired that you can hardly lift your hands to come on guard, fight one more round. When your nose is bleeding and your eyes are black and you're so tired that you wish your opponent would crack you one on the jaw and put you to sleep, fight one more round, remembering that the man who fights one more round is never whipped. Call it what you want, that's good old-fashioned grit. And I think that's what Paul is advocating in Ephesians 6 when he says, having done all to stand, stand. In other words, fight one more round. Fight for your family. If your marriage is on the ropes, fight one more round. If you have cancer, fight one more round of chemo. When addiction threatens to take you down, fight one more round. Listen, life is gonna knock you down, no doubt, but faith is getting back up and standing on the promises of God. It's getting back in the ring and fighting to the finish. Isn't that what Jesus did? He went 40 rounds with the enemy in the wilderness. He carried a 300-pound cross 650 yards down the Via Dolorosa. Then he fought death for 3 more days and finally walked out of that tomb victorious. How did he do it? For the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross. Listen, if Jesus hung on his cross, we can certainly carry ours. Fighting for your faith is loving God with all of your strength. It's going the extra mile. It's turning the other cheek. It's praying for those who persecute you. And that takes far more than physical strength. It takes willpower. One of my heroes is Teddy Roosevelt, and I love him for lots of reasons. Roosevelt once rode a moose. Who does that? He worked a ranch in the Dakotas. He flew the Wright brothers' airplane. He scaled the Matterhorn in the Swiss Alps. He navigated uncharted parts of the Amazon River. And he famously led the charge up Kettle Hill during the Battle of San Juan. He even set up a boxing ring in the White House so he could spar with anybody who dared get in the ring with him. But one incident epitomizes all the others. In October of 1912, Roosevelt was campaigning for the White House when a would-be assassin shot him point blank with a pistol. That bullet lodged 2 inches deep in his chest, but that didn't stop Roosevelt from making his speech. In fact, he got up and said, "The bullet is in me now, so I cannot make a very long speech." Then he spoke for 53 minutes. By the time he was done, he was standing in a pool of his own blood. Now, with that as a backdrop, listen to what Roosevelt said. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man in the arena whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood. I don't know anybody who fits that description better than David's mighty men, especially his right-hand man, Benaiah, who chased the lion into a pit on a snowy day and killed it. It's one thing to have a dream, but dreams don't happen by default. You've got to fight for them. The way Scripture says Benaiah fought the 2 lion-like men of Moab or the giant Egyptian. Now listen, you better choose your battles wisely. There are some battlefields I'm not called to die on, and you have to know what those are. But you also have to know what dream you're willing to live for and die for. And you might have to fight until your hand freezes to the sword.
Far too often, we doubt our dreams and delay our destinies. Chase the Lion helps you understand why life's greatest fulfillment comes from living in your divine purpose. And you'll discover what happens when you fearlessly chase after your God-sized dream. With grit and gusto, New York Times bestselling author Mark Batterson delivers a bold message to everyone with a big dream. To thank you for your gift of $25 or more in support of the worldwide outreaches of TBN, we'll send you your very own copy of the book Chase the Lion. And for your gift of $75 or more, we'll also include 2 additional books by Pastor Mark, In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day, and his latest book, Whisper, How to Hear the Voice of God, where Pastor Mark will introduce you to the 7 love languages of God and how he speaks to us through them, each one unique and entirely divine. Right now, you can begin the journey that takes you from your God-given dream into your God-ordained destiny. Hear him, follow him, run to the roar. Call or go online right now to share a gift and request these powerful resources from Pastor Mark Batterson.
Second Samuel 23:20 says that Benaiah the lion chaser was a valiant fighter from Kabzeel. We tend to read right past that description, but it reveals who Benaiah was, what Benaiah was about. Benaiah was a fighter, but there's a modifier. He was a valiant fighter. He didn't just possess incredible physical strength, it was complemented by his moral character. He used his strength and his resources for God's purposes, and that's key. Santiago Moncada is one of those valiant fighters. Like Chamberlain and Benaya, he isn't one to run away from the battle. Santiago grew up in the middle of the Colombian drug wars. He eventually immigrated to America with his mom, but he left part of his heart in his native Colombia. In December of 2012, Santi found out about a group of farmers who desperately wanted to get out of the cocaine industry and needed a different source of income to do so. Well, that's when a dream was birthed in his heart for a coffee company called Redeeming Grounds.
The coffee industry is going through a transition. They want traceability of their products, right? They want to know that the products you're consuming weren't bought at the expense of someone's poverty. Our vision is coffee lands where every person can reach their human potential. It just so happens that in all these areas of conflict, there's coffee grown. So our hope is to use that as a tool.
El negocio de la coca va a cortarlo de raíz. Está el que la coge, hace el semillero, siembra. Cuando ya empieza a producir, él se beneficia de esa hoja. Pasa el segundo, que soy yo, el comprador de esa hoja. Yo llegué a mover en una semana 800,000 arrobas.
Coca cultivation breeds death. It breeds so much violence, not just there where it's being grown, but where the cocaine eventually ends up, right?
De eso, que hice tanto daño al pueblo. Recuerdo una ocasión que mi hijo me dijo, papá, ¿para qué utilizan esa hoja? No tuve respuesta.
Richard is a dedicated man, not just to his farm, but to his family.
Siempre me vi enamorado de la zona cafetera. Un día dije yo, padre, algún día yo debo tener una cafetera. Yo le decía a Dios, algún día me hará de una cafetera. Me aparté del ilícito, estoy dedicado al negocio del café.
Yo pensaba que, por ejemplo, yo como le dije, los sueños míos eran siempre exportar café. Eran mis sueños. Cuando una vez yo estaba por ahí, cuando el pastor me dice, Cristian, conocí unos muchachos que son de Estados Unidos y como que yo les presenté el caso y ellos como que se interesaron en eso.
The mission of Redeeming Grounds is to empower coffee growers in troubled lands to restore their communities. We do this by buying their coffee at above market prices. This equips them with resources to restore their communities. These are all coca plants. So you see them kind of just scattered everywhere. These are all coca cultivations. The folks that are here present today have come to celebrate in the eradication of the coca fields. The hope is that they would be inspired today by the work that's being done here, so that they would take this mission back to the region that they're in. When these guys decide to eradicate the coca fields, their source of income is gone. So they need to find alternative methods. We partner with these guys, make it possible for them to make what they're doing sustainable.
Sí, que hoy vi mi cara de café, en la bolsa de café que un día yo soñé que iba a exportar y que ahora lo estoy exportando a Estados Unidos, porque es una realidad. Y que hoy no lloro porque no de tristeza, no de alegría.
What this community, what these families thought they had lost forever is now being restored, and Redeeming Grounds gets to play a part of that.
Doy la gloria, Padre, porque Dios me ha enseñado en estos 4 años y me ha mostrado un camino diferente.
Fighting against the drug cartel by eradicating cocoa fields is more than a little dangerous, but lion chasers don't back down. Even when the odds are stacked against them, they fight back for what they believe in. When the going gets tough, the valiant fighter gets going. They fight for their king, like Benaiah. They fight for their cause, like Chamberlain. They fight for their convictions, like Santi. But they aren't just fighting for themselves. They're fighting for those who are on the other side of their dream. In every dream journey, there's a moment when you have to fight for what you believe in. It might be a marriage that's on the ropes, or a child who's in rebellion, or a cause that seems hopeless, or a dream that's on life support. Are you willing to fight for it? Are you willing to fight until your hand freezes to the sword? Are you willing to fight even if the odds are 800 to 1? A few years ago, I was speaking at a leadership conference in Dallas, Texas. 2 minutes before going on stage to speak, my phone rang. Not usually, I wouldn't answer it, but it was a family member. And that's how I discovered that my dad had cancer. Needless to say, it was tough to get up and talk after that. Questions start consuming your thoughts. What kind of cancer is it? What stage is it? What are the chances of beating it? When you get difficult news like that, you can respond in one of 2 ways. I think some people roll over and play dead. My dad, he's not wired that way. He came out of the corner fighting with an upbeat attitude. Honestly, I don't have a single memory of my dad ever complaining about anything, and cancer wasn't going to change his attitude or his approach to life. My dad fought cancer the way he fought every other challenge, with grace and faith. And we fought with him in prayer. John 10 says, the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. He wants to kill your joy, steal your dream, and destroy your life. Our struggle is not against flesh and blood. We're in a dogfight with the devil. But Jesus came that you might have life and have it more abundantly. And he that is in us is greater than he that is in the world. The Bible says, no weapon formed against us will prosper. If we resist the devil, he will flee from us. And if God is for us, who can be against us? Come on, fight back with words of faith. Fight back with songs of praise. I don't know what you're fighting against, what you're fighting for, but my challenge is this: fight one more round. It's too soon to give up. Listen, God-sized dreams usually take longer and prove to be much harder than original estimates. But that's one way God gets the glory. He fights our battles for us. He does things we can't take credit for. Let me share 2 convictions. First, whatever you tolerate will eventually dominate. In the book of Revelation, God compliments the church of Thyatira for their love, faith, and perseverance. But then he says, nevertheless, I have this against you. You tolerate that woman Jezebel, who calls herself a prophet. By her teaching, she misleads my servants into sexual immorality and the eating of food sacrificed to idols. Listen, there is a sin of silence. It's not saying what needs to be said. And there is a sin of toleration. And we fall into that sin when we stop trying or stop praying or stop fighting. Second, I believe that anybody can do just about anything if they work at it long enough, hard enough, and smart enough. I'm not taking God's grace and God's favor out of the equation, but you can't just pray like it depends on God. You have to work like it depends on you. Sure, some people are incredibly gifted, but if that giftedness isn't coupled with a complementary work ethic, it'll only result in wasted potential. I love actor Will Smith's not so secret to success. He says, "I'm not afraid to die on a treadmill. I will not be outworked. You may be more talented than me, you might be smarter than me, and you may be better looking than me. But if we get on a treadmill together, you're gonna get off first or I'm gonna die." That's how the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air became one of Hollywood's most bankable stars. It wasn't on talent alone, it was on the treadmill. No matter what dream you're chasing, there are no shortcuts. You get into shape one workout at a time. You get out of debt one paycheck at a time. You earn a graduate degree one class at a time. You produce an album one rehearsal at a time. You get a job promotion one project at a time. You get the game ball one practice at a time. Whatever dream journey you're on, you have to take it one step at a time. But if you keep doing the right things day in and day out, one day God is gonna show up and show off. Chase the Lion is more than a book, more than a series. It's a call to action. Here's the good news. You're one decision away from a totally different life. But here's the challenge. You've got to quit running away from what you're afraid of and run to the roar.
Far too often, we doubt our dreams and delay our destinies. Chase the Lion helps you understand why life's greatest fulfillment comes from living in your divine purpose. And you'll discover what happens when you fearlessly chase after your God-sized dream. With grit and gusto, New York Times best-selling author Mark Batterson delivers a bold message to everyone with a big dream. To thank you for your gift of $25 or more in support of the worldwide outreaches of TBN, we'll send you your very own copy of the book Chase the Lion. And for your gift of $75 or more, we'll also include 2 additional books by Pastor Mark, In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day, and his latest book, Whisper, How to Hear the Voice of God. Call or go online right now to share a gift and request these powerful resources from Pastor Mark Batterson.